Breaking this noon, a tragic end to the search for 3 missing girls in central Washington. The Wenatchee Police Department says the sisters have been found dead.
Decker is accused of killing his 3 young daughters near Leavenworth more than a month ago.
On May 30th, 2025, a man named Travis Decker suddenly decides to take his 3 young daughters, Olivia, Evelyn, and Peyton Decker, on a camping trip. Without informing anyone, he drives them out to Rock Island Campground, a remote area in Chelan County in Washington. No one, not family, not friends, knows that the girls are with him. Time passes. The children don't come back. Their mother, increasingly worried, contacts the police and reports all 3 daughters missing. The following day, law enforcement launches a search operation. They begin to trace Decker's last known movements, focusing on the campground. And then, on Monday, June 2nd, the unimaginable is found. Near the area of Rock Island Campground, deputies discover the lifeless bodies of the 3 sisters. Each of them was killed by asphyxiation, with zip ties and plastic bags placed over their heads. Travis Decker lived what many would call an ordinary American life. A 49-year-old man, ex-military, calm, quiet, and often described by neighbors as just normal. He lived in Wenatchee, Washington, a city tucked away in the quiet woods of the Pacific Northwest. Travis shared custody of his 3 young daughters with his ex-wife, with whom he had divorced years earlier. Their names were Olivia, Evelyn, and Peyton. They were just 6, 8, and 9 years old. People who knew them said the girls were bright, playful, full of life, the kind of kids that bring energy into a room just by being in it. They spent weekends with their father, sometimes camping, sometimes just staying home. And despite the split family, things seemed stable from the outside. Their mother lived nearby and remained involved in their lives. There was no known history of violence or custody battles between Travis and his ex-wife. To everyone around, this was a typical divorced family, sharing time, raising 3 kids. But something was happening inside Travis's mind, something no one could see, something no one was prepared for. By the spring of 2025, Travis Decker was showing clear signs of mental decline. He had become increasingly paranoid, withdrawn, and angry. His relationship with the children's mother had long since dissolved, but he was still granted partial custody. Friends and neighbors noticed that something was off. He rarely left his Wenatchee apartment. He began isolating the girls from their mother and relatives, and there were whispers of abuse, bruises noticed on at least one of the daughters. Just 3 days before the murders, deputies captured Travis Decker on body camera footage. He had been stopped during a welfare check after reports of concerning behavior. This brief footage became one of the last known sightings of Travis before he vanished into the wilderness. He comes across as a completely reasonable and composed individual, speaking politely with the officers. Watching the footage, you'd never suspect that this man would soon be at the center of one of the most disturbing crimes in recent memory. CPS had already been involved once. In late May, the situation escalated. The mother had contacted police, saying she feared for the girls' safety. Officers arrived at Decker's apartment, but he refused to let them inside. He claimed the girls were not home, that they'd left earlier, but neighbors had seen them only hours before. Still, without a warrant, officers couldn't force entry. Then, just a day before the planned welfare check with a court-approved warrant, Travis vanished, taking the girls with him. On May 30th, 2025, Travis Decker picked up his 3 daughters, Olivia, Evelyn, and Peyton, for what was supposed to be a routine, court-approved visit. They were last seen leaving his apartment in Wenatchee, Washington. Nothing seemed unusual at the time, but Travis had other plans. Instead of spending the weekend nearby, he drove the girls deep into the woods to a secluded campground near Rock Island in Chelan County. He didn't tell anyone where he was going. No texts, no calls, and no return. The next day, the mother of the girls, growing increasingly anxious after not hearing from them, reported the children missing. Law enforcement immediately launched a search: helicopters, drones, K-9 units. They focused on the area around the Columbia River and the nearby hills. But what they found 2 days later would haunt the investigators forever. On the morning of June 2nd, Chelan County deputies discovered the bodies of all 3 girls just outside the Rock Island campground. They were found lying side by side in the grass, silent, still. Their deaths were ruled asphyxiation, caused by zip ties and plastic bags placed over their heads. It was a level of cruelty that stunned even the most experienced detectives. No one had seen Travis since May 30th. The man who once served in the military had vanished, along with the vehicle he was last seen driving. After the bodies of the 3 girls were found near Rock Island campground, Travis Decker vanished, but not without a trace. Law enforcement agencies launched an intense manhunt across the wilderness of Washington state.
We have obtained the first photos from deep inside the rugged mountain search zone. Snohomish County Special Operations are assisting.
Drones scanned the valleys. Helicopters circled remote canyons. Deputies swept through trails and logging roads, but Decker seemed to slip through everything. He had training, military training. This wasn't some desperate father on the run. This was a man who knew the woods, who knew how to disappear. They say he packed supplies, chose the location in advance. Some believe he'd been preparing for weeks, maybe even months. For days, the Chelan County forests echoed with the sounds of search teams. But no Decker, no fresh tracks, no campfire, just silence. One man was even mistakenly arrested after being spotted in the woods, his face resembling Decker's from afar.
Big Mike, I'm going to hold this up next to you. Now that right there is Travis Decker.
It wasn't him. More tips came in. A sighting near Leavenworth, a man walking alone near a river, a car abandoned deep in the trees, each one a dead end. Now, over a month later, Decker remains missing. Some say he's dead, taken his own life. Others believe he's still out there, living off-grid, watching, waiting. And the scariest part? He might be closer than anyone thinks.